For more than 10 years, Jetoya Consult has been changing the narrative in the Nigerian educational sector. Here's what our legal consultant, Barrister Bukola Smith, has to say about child abuse.
Yes, Lagos MI teaming up with Oxlade. The song is titled All My Life. Before that, you heard Sarah the remix, yeah? DJ Spinall teaming up with Fireboy and Six Lack, right? Six Lack on that one. Black. Also, before that, you also heard Fireboy DML Champion and D-Smoke. My name is Obi Lagos. This is Campus Snoop on your radio. Yes, we live. Time to 44 minutes past the hour of 10 a.m. I've got Anu here, I've got Yetunde here, I have Juliet here, and I have Israel here as well. My guest, Mr. Fredo, is still on his way. Lagos and traffic, though. Wahala. But moving on, now remember last week where we discussed here on the show about a JSS1 student who is currently suing the Ekiti state government for a breach in her fundamental human right. Now, she's suing the government for 15 million naira. Now, according to her, she was served 20 lashes of the cane and was suspended on May 22nd on account of an alleged indecent hairstyle, and she was described the situation as cruel and inhuman. Now, she claimed the beating she got that day resulted in bruises, life-threatening scars, and blood stains on her uniform. Now, in addition to this, she fainted and she was rushed to the police clinic where she was resuscitated. Now, she's currently demanding 15 million naira and immediate reinstatement into the school. All right. Now, also 2 days ago, a video surfaced on social media where a lecturer of LASU told a student to go on his knees. Now, reason being, he was talking while she was teaching, and according to her, he was not dressed properly. Now, this is happening in a university, Lagos. All right. Now, remember, I promised to put a call through to a human rights activist today on the show. Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Good morning to you. Am I on to Barrister Bukola Smith?
Yes, you are on to Bukola.
Okay. How are you doing today, man? How's work?
Work is fine. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good to have you here, though. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
You're on to Kiss FM Lagos. You're live on the radio. All right. My name is Obi.
Okay. Hello, Obi.
Welcome to the show. All right. So I'm sure few weeks ago you've been following the news concerning the JSS1 student who is currently suing the Ekiti state government for 15 million naira. Now, according to her, yes. So, you are a human rights activist, and you are also a child abuse survivor. What is your take on this?
Okay, so I'm excited by this event. I know that's highly unusual, but I'm excited that for once we are beginning to see people understand their rights and understand the place of the judicial system in helping them get justice whenever such right is violated. The question of whether or not this was a violation of human rights is unnecessary because it definitely is. So let's look at not just the Nigerian constitution, right? Let's look at even the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, even the Nigerian Constitution, the Child Rights Act. Everything supposes that a person has the right to be treated with dignity. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you follow the news correctly, she mentioned that she wasn't just flogged, she was given 20 strokes of a cane. Yes. And then she was bloodied as a result of that flogging. That is inhumane treatment. There is no justification whatsoever for a student, a JSS1 student. This person just graduated from primary school, was flogged 20 strokes of the cane in the assembly ground. There is no justification whatsoever. There is no way we can say that's a violation of our right to dignity. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited by this development, really.
All right, let me ask you briefly. Do you think there should be a ban in flogging or punishing students in the university? As a human rights activist, do you think there should be a ban?
Yes, I will say so. I really would say so. But seeing as, it's not just stating that a thing should be banned doesn't mean that it will not occur anymore. Flogging children, corporal punishment for in better terms, it's something that is no longer just, it's not just done as a punitive measure. It's a part of our culture. Do you understand?
Yes, please.
We believe as Nigerians, we believe that that is primarily the only way to get the attention of a child. And so just placing a ban on it will be of no effect whatsoever. So possibly we should start looking at regulation around the kind of punishment that should, or disciplinary actions that should be taken in our educational system.
What would you suggest, though? What would you suggest?
Okay, so what I will suggest really is this. We first of all have to come to an understanding that corporal punishment for every offense does more harm than good. Okay? Now, I understand that we will talk about, a lot of people will talk about how you must discipline children. You must ensure that they are right and upstanding members of society. Yes, you can do that. But let's also understand that there are so many other ways that can be done. So what I suggest is this. Let's have a definitive method, a definitive regulation, right? That states that before you can punish a student for an act, first that act should be identified as a wrong. Because we have a lot of people, a lot of school administrators just acting, just being discretionary about a lot of things, right? And we can't trust people to train our children if they have no handle on their own emotions, or they just act based on what they perceive to be right and wrong. So what is wrong in the school right now? You must not do so and so hairstyle. Do the children understand it? Have you communicated with them? But beyond communicating with the child alone, have you informed their parents? Because there's a limit to the actions a child can take without the consent of their parents. Have you had a teachers association meeting saying these are the regulations of the institution, right? If a child does this, he is wrong, and there will be penalty for it. If a child does this, he is wrong, there will be penalty. So now they are aware. They can ensure that their children or words do the right thing, and then you inform the children. That's one. And they must also ensure that punishment is commensurate to the offense. So you don't flog a child 20 strokes of cane and bloody the child because the child did the wrong hairstyle. That is a use of power that is just absolutely arbitrary, and that should not be encouraged at all. Then lastly, okay, perhaps not lastly, but also one of the things we should consider is that corporal punishment should be the last resort at every time. And then we can't just have people making these decisions randomly. That's why I'm calling for regulation. So we should have a sit down and a conversation, a true conversation around this issue of punishments and punishments in Nigerian institutions as a whole. And of course, the only people who can chair that are persons in government. It is extremely, extremely important because we can't do things randomly this way. Was it this month? Yes, this month there was also a child who died as a result of being flogged.
Yes.
In Abuja, in Lagos, this happened in 2000, and I think in Ibadan it happens in 2015. In Lagos State, 2020, and these are only the ones that make the news because we give teachers and school administrators so much leeway. A lot of them abuse it. A lot of them have anger issues. A lot of them don't understand the limitations. So this much freedom is definitely prone to abuse. So that's something we cannot allow. There is a need for very specific regulation. I know it's contrary to a lot of the things we've done as Nigerians. It's probably contrary to our culture that believes that every child in your vicinity is your child to mold, but that's not true. So, but yes, we do need that regulation in place.
All right. So I was told you are a child abuse survivor. Do you want to share your experience with us?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And yes. So I done a lot of initiatives around child sexual abuse, about being a child survivor of physical violence like that. I think we all are. Most Nigerians are survivors of this kind of abuse. But about my story, I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. I was first raped at the age of 6, and this continued for 6 years to the age of 12, and then had sexual violence, rape about 4 times between that age and adulthood. So yes, I have a lot of experiences around on child sexual abuse, and my experience has shaped my advocacy to a great extent.
Let me ask you, if I let you go, how have you been able to move past all this? I mean, it's crazy though. Hearing it is really crazy.
It's crazy. I agree with you. There's no other word for it. It's a difficult thing, really. It's to grow up with trauma and to have very few people understand you, and then to grow up feeling like dirt and because we have this purity culture thing in Nigeria, where if you are do I say defiled? No, but defiled is not the word. If you are raped at a certain age, if you are even raped at all, people begin to perceive that there's something wrong with you, and they act it out. So a lot of time we silence this thing and we just deal with the trauma. So it was difficult, to be honest. I had a very troubled teenagehood, and my young adulthood was not spared. By God's grace, to be honest, and by lots of work, I have been able to surmount a lot of these challenges. And yes, I'm living better. But the issue of trauma, sorry, I need to just
go ahead.
put this into this conversation because of the origin of the entire conversation. But the issue of trauma really is not solely possible concerning sex. It's not the sole occurrence for sexual survivors of child sexual violence. But then this thing about physical violence, where we feel children are not human beings, they do not have the right to be treated, to be conversed with, they do not understand. This thing that we've made a culture has to be stopped, because there are a lot of people today who are living with trauma from this violence they suffered, and they do not realize that what all this violence and aggression they're displaying as adults is as a result of what they suffered as children. I mean, this is what breeds bullying. This is why people no longer have the ability to have rational conversations, which is why people are beginning, you see a lot of people who are aggressive. Why? They suffered trauma from physical violence as children. Of course, that's not the only reason, but that is one reason we should consider. So when we are speaking about physical abuse of children, let's understand that these people grew up with the trauma, and then it doesn't make them better contributors to society. It makes them worse, and that's not the purpose of discipline. So these are some of the things we should consider when looking at this case from the outside. Should she go ahead and press charges? Yes, because if that young lady has been traumatized, so definitely she should go. I am excited that she's doing that, and my kudos to her parents for taking the initiative.
And do you think she will pay the money, the 15 million? It's a huge sum, though. I mean, do you think she will pay the 15 million naira she's requesting for?
Well, I don't want to postulate about what the court would say, but it is possible. I mean, the fundamental human rights case. So yes, it's possible. It might be reduced. It might be
exactly.
There are lots of ways it could be looked at. But yes, it's possible. I am rooting for this for her and for this case. I really hope they got lawyers who can get the job done, because this would be a landmark decision. Perhaps we can have people sit up. We can have regulators sit up and start taking notes. We might have teachers who understand that they can no longer bring the problems from their houses and throw it on innocent students. We can have better administration, better discipline, methods of discipline in our secondary school institutions. I really am rooting for this case. I'm not sure if she would win it or not, but I'm rooting for her.
All right. Thank you so much for this call. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have you on the show.
For more exciting information, log on to www.jetoyaconsult.com.ng. Jetoya Consult. Limitless learning at your fingertips.